Chaps and chapettes, welcome back to another FIFA video. Of course, it's a hot summer's day. We got the windows open. We're happy to flex, and we're happy to flex on FIFA as well. You know, Foot Champs really was just one of those times where it's a learning process, getting back into the game. So when I started playing FIFA, I had like little notes, almost like revision, you might say, where I just noted down sort of what works, what doesn't. And one of the things on there was pretty much just abusing, just saying how good the 4-2-3-1 formation was, just because it's such a solid formation, an all-rounded, beautiful formation. I've tried the 4-3-3, if you might have already have seen it on stream. And it's such a good formation because it is, the 4-3-3 anyway, it's such a good formation because it's the one that Pep Guardiola uses. It's like middle CDM, almost becomes a third centre-back at times. You've got the half spaces which you create with a centre mid. It's basically becoming an attacking five, almost like a 4-5-1. But, you know, it's really good, but at the same time, it just doesn't work on FIFA just because you can't... Well, I think it can work, but it lacks the tactics that you really need it to get it to work. So, it's very much a formation that's sick in real life, whereas this, the 4-2-3-1, is very much a formation that's good in real life, but because it's not a very complex formation, it doesn't require sort of a lot of tactical, I guess, like, small little details that make it what it is, whereas a 4-2-3-1 is very solid in what it is. It's just a solid formation, which allows you... One of the best things about the 4-2-3-1 is it allows you to beat the better players who have the better formations as well. So you're coming up against, say, like, if you play 4-1-2-1-2, I think I said this on the previous video about the 4-2-3-1, but if you play with a 4-1-2-1-2 up against a player with a much better team, and he's, like, just as good, then pretty much 9 times out of 10 he's going to win the game, I'd say. Whereas I just think you have a much better probability of beating the better teams with a 4-2-3-1 formation, just because it's very much about game management. You have 2 CDMs in the middle which can cover all the ground in the world. One of the biggest things that I kind of forgot about this game is that controlling your centre-backs and really sort of forcing them out and about, it just doesn't really work, to be honest. You end up just going overly aggressive. They play a ball in behind, you're done for. Simple as that. You'll be written down in the history books, but not for much. Whereas, what you want to really be doing is just kind of harassing them with players like the CDMs, you know, fast CDMs like Bakayoko, and trying not to control your centre-backs as much. So we know pretty much, if you think about it, we know that the best way of defending is using your midfield to defend instead of your centre-backs. And there isn't many formations I can think of that have, you know, CDMs or 2 CDMs that are very strong, as well as having a strong passing foundation for the formation. But 2 CDMs that are going to be in around your defence, in the middle, in the perfect spot to snuff out the attacks. It's honestly just such a good formation for stopping... As, like, we often talk about, you know, attacking. We're showing goals right now. That's all we're showing. But at the end of the day, if you want a solid defensive balanced formation, the 4-2-3-1, you're going to be keeping out the better players with the use of, say, Bakayoko or whoever, just harassing. And then, if need be, then switch to your centre-backs or your defence. You know, if he's opening up a space on the right-hand side, you know, go to your full-back or whatever. So, at the end of the day, you want to be using your midfield mostly to defend, and at the same time, this is going to mean that you're more confident in your attacks. You know, when you're going forward, you know that you've got a solid defensive foundation of a back, so you're gonna take more risks, which is really what you need to do. You don't want to be playing too safe, because then you're just not going to come up with much goals. You're not going to create enough chances. And that seems to happen with me in a 4-3-3, because you look back at the defense and you just think, I'm not really too confident with that. So another thing as well, just in terms of chance creation, one of the best tips I like to say is use the LBA passes. Use and abuse these LBA passes, and don't just literally go LBA on every single player. In terms of just breaking forward, when you are coming forward, you do want to use LBA a lot with each individual player, to be honest, in the initial build-up. But in the sort of final third, you want to be really thinking about what is going to happen next, having like a mental clock in your head. So let's say you do an LBA with Suarez. He's now making that run. You have to bear in mind that he's making that run and try and find a pattern, maybe a triangle pass, maybe a ball roll, or a turn your back for a bit, or whatever it might be. try and really just focus on the runs going through and see if there is, and just have a look at the line, see if he is going to be able to make it through, and see if you can find a way to pick him out. And it kind of seems like really simple. Often these things are really simple, but just once you really think about them and pay a lot of attention to these individual parts of a game, you just find yourself improving quite a lot. So LBA passing is really one of the best things about this formation, you know, opening up the wings and using the right back and left backs, bringing them forward. But there you go, chaps and chapettes. Ultimately, I think this is the best formation just because it's the best balanced, and just the way that the game runs with the LBA passing and all the rest of it, it's just as solid as you'll get. So if you do want to see more sort of informative, I won't really say entertaining, it's more just informative content, then make sure to leave a like, of course. We're going to be continuing with Fortnite tomorrow, and then each weekend I'm going to make sort of a more entertaining, highly edited videos. So I'm hoping you chaps and chappets enjoy the content that is going to be coming. And yeah, I'll see you chaps and chappets in a bit. My.
You look says.